Hello there, people. Welcome to class today. Thanks for being here. Hopefully we can all learn something valuable, exciting, and life enriching. Let me just adjust my physical stature here as we get into this, okay? Today, I suppose I'm going to talk about the value of using a drone. This is not a typical thing of the West, right? Although maybe that's not true. I mean, we could say maybe the plain chant of the old monks of the back in the day, maybe that was dronal. It certainly was of a modal dronal modality, right? But this is something a bit more, well, just less common in Los Angeles, okay? And when I say put on a drone, what I mean is it doesn't have to be, but generally it's the root and the fifth. And why? Why would we have a drone accompany our musical playing, our study? And the reason we have a drone is to train our ear to hear a tonal center, right? To train our ear to hear these notes and their relationship to a fundamental tonal sense of gravity, of center, right? Of right there in the middle, the sun in the center of the solar system, right? So, for instance, if I'm trying to get acquainted with the key of C, I'll take C and G, and I'll push a magic button. And now I'm floating in the solar system of C. I'm going to try it one more time. I don't like it. We'll do it one more time. Another thing to notice is I'm articulating the C and the G over the 12th fret to minimize the sound of the harmonics, which get a little non-tempered pretty quick, right? Up here, very different than over here. Here the fundamental of the note is amplified, right? So let's say you put your drone in the air, right? That's great. And man, this mic's just killing me, guys. I'm going crazy, but that's life, okay? So go crazy together with me. And we've got our drone. Now just off the bat, can we hit our octaves, right? Just hitting C's and hearing and registering the copaceticness of C in a drone of C. I went ba 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 ba. Can you go ba 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 ba? Maybe up here. All right, just hitting C's. Why don't we add the fifth? Now that's 1-5, and notice how copacetic these sounds are. These are very stabilizing, orienting. Dare we say, plain sounds, right? They're there to let us know, hey, you're in the room, you're here, and it's good, it's chill, right? I can hang out there. Now, we did the root, we did the fifth. Next, let's add the fourth, which is sort of the inverse of the fifth, the mirror of the fifth, right? C to G is a fifth. C to F is a fourth. But guess what? F to C is a fifth. Is a fifth a fourth? Maybe the fourth time you do it, it's a fifth, all right? And the fifth time you do a fifth, it's a fourth. And that is all I'm going to say about that. So let's add the fourth. Beautiful, different flavor, right? But still very stabilizing, but not, is it settled? Have you settled? I'm not settled, I'm floating. I want to settle. And there's a typical place that the 4 likes to settle, but let's just hear it for a while. 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. One more time. That's 1, 4, 5. Oh yeah. Good stuff. It's a great sound. Nothing too crazy going on yet. But notice we're hearing it in relation to the tonal center. And nothing too flavorful yet, but here comes something flavorful. We're going to add the major third. 5, 4, 1, 5, 4, 3, 3. All right, so we got 1, 3, 4, 5. And also notice I didn't produce these notes in a linear melodic order, right? I didn't go 1, 3, 4, 5. I went 1, 1, went to the octave first, then the fifth, then the fourth, then the third. Why would I do that, right? Because I'm generating these tones in terms of complexity, right? The octave is the simplest, right? The fifth is the next simplest, and there could be a discussion about it, but I would say, I guess you could say, I would say that you could say that the fourth is the next simplest, right? And why is that? It's a longer discussion. You're going to have to pay me for that. Now, that major third, notice a lot more flavor in there. This is a character-defining interval, right? It ain't a minor third. It's a major third. So we got 1, 3, 4, 5. Now, the same way, this is interesting, the same way I produced the fourth, right, as the mirror of the fifth, for 1 billion bonus points, can you answer, what would the mirror of the major third be? Going once, going twice. Go ahead and type it in the chat. Type it in the thing in the comment, right? Real quick before I tell you the answer. The mirror of the major third. It would be, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, it's so loud. It would be the flat 6 or A flat. How is that? What's going on? Well, if I go from C up a major third, that's E. If I go from C, I go down a major third. Uh-oh. Up, oh no, it's the A flat, 1 flat, 6, 5. Can you feel that drama? Oh no, it's dramatic. I'm far away, I'm in the deserts. So what do we got so far? We've got, intervallically speaking, 1, 3, 4, 5, flat, 6, 1. This is a very cool pentatonic scale. Now, why these 4 notes initially, right? Or I guess we could say 5 are at the octave, of course, but the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the flat 6. These are the initial harmonic directions, right? How do I get a fifth? I take this note and I multiply it by 3. I say, hey, move this note, this C, low C. If I'm being really specific with the mathematics, right? I'm saying, hey, C, move 3 times as fast. That's what I get. If I say, hey, C, not this C, it'd have to be a lower C, but it's of a quintupling nature. I say, hey, C, move 5 times as fast. I get this. I get the major third, right? If I say, hey, C, move twice as fast. If I say, move twice as fast, C, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? What am I going to get? I'm going to get C. Isn't that funny? That an octave has nothing to do with 8, really. Not in terms of physical reality, right? In terms of, we just happen to have 7 pitches. We could have 32 pitches. We could have 5 pitches. We could have 6 billion pitches between the octaves. We still call it an octave because somehow 7 notes became the way, right? But even a pentatonic scale, we still call it an octave, even though I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 octave, right? Okay, sure. It's all broken. All of the music theory language is completely broken, okay? An octave doesn't have anything to do with 8. It has to do with doubling. That's what an octave is. An octave is this, happening very, very, very quickly, right? If I did this 440 times a second and this 880 times a second, I'd have A 440. I forget which one it is. It's A, and then the A higher than that. Pretty cool, right? Did you know that? Did you know that? Did you know that this is an octave? Does this have anything to do with 8? Go ahead. Fight me on it. Now, that scale, I want you to get acquainted with it, and I want you to consider each of these moves not necessarily melodic distances. I mean, that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to understand them as harmonic steps, right? The initial tripling, the initial quintupling, and the inverse of those processes, right? Dare we say, the dividing by 3 and the dividing by 5. And notice as the mathematics becomes more complicated, we get more enriched tones, enriched harmonies, like especially that dividing by 5. I'm so dramatic, I gotta simplify, cause I don't wanna be too dramatic, but sometimes I do. And right, is that dissonant? I mean, sort of, right? But what is dissonance? I've said it before, I'll say it again. Dissonance is just complexity. That's a better understanding of what's going on. You have a complicated relationship between the pitches as opposed to something simpler, which will be more consonant, right? It's as if consonance and dissonance is just how much work your brain has to do to process the sound. Your brain has to do more work to process this than it does to process this. And that's because dividing by 5 is more complicated than multiplying by 3. Two things I almost never do, okay? Now anyway, here's our initial scale, our 1, 3, 4, 5, flat 6. I'm talking interval. If you want to be cool, hang out with this and try and hear the absolutely fundamental difference between those half steps, right? E to F. The F, it tends to lead into the E. And that A flat tends to lead into the G. Okay? Now notice these are half steps. And they hold a lot of sway. Okay? A lot of sway. Half steps hold a lot of harmonic movement. In fact, we could say that a melodic step is a harmonic leap. You with me on that? A melodic step is a harmonic leap, as in the harmonic nature of E and F are utterly and fundamentally different. They are of different worlds of number. Different worlds of number. Right? We have octave world, which is times 2 world. We have fifth world, which is times 3 world. We have major third world, which is times 5 world. Then our perfect fourth, dividing by 3 world, and our perfect, it's not perfect, it's so imperfect, it's the flatted 6, are dividing by 5 world. These are worlds of number, right? Worlds of number, like Plinko, okay? Now, I just wanted to go through that initial pentatonic scale, but notice with this drone on, you can explore any and all harmonic relationships. Now, of course, we could just start with C major. 2, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 7, 1, 2, 1. And, in terms of this drone, if you're still here and haven't gone insane by listening to it, it does train the ear. It trains your sense of tension and resolution, right? And notice it really is, it's funny, we're playing melody, right? But we're developing our harmonic sense in the sense that we're trying to feel, like, what does a single pitch do in relation to the tonic? Does it sit? Does it pull? Does it push? Like, what is the sensation there, right? Of course, I've got my ideas about it, but you'll generally find that notes of a multiplicative nature, such as that E or that G or even a B, they sit more, they land, right? They welcome us. We've arrived, okay? But notes of a more reciprocal nature, like an F or that A flat, right? The fourth, Or dare we take it further to the D flat? They don't sit. They don't land. They're are they begging to resolve, to land home? You're somewhere else. Right, that's the fourth, the flat six, the flat two, and then I'll take it into multiplication land, into division land. Anyway, so look, that major scale. Enough. I'll try to stop talking about multiplication and division. That major scale, you're gonna get bored eventually, right? Because who wants to play the major scale? So what I'd encourage you to do is alter the scale, right? So instead of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, alter some of those. Like, how about C, D flat? How about C, D flat, E natural? We'll keep the E. Well, instead of F, let's go to F sharp. Alright, so we got 1 flat, 2, 3 sharp, 4, up to the 5. How about, should we do the flat 6? And that's interesting. You got F sharp, G, A flat. Remember, as I said, melodic steps are harmonic leaps. So we have, there's a lot going on in there, right? That's C, D flat, E, F sharp, G, A flat. And let's go to B natural. We'll keep the B natural. Right, I took the major scale, flatted the second, sharp to the 4, flat to the 6, and that gave me this scale. And what is valuable about this is hearing those more novel pitches in relation to this center, that flat 2, the sharp 4, right? That flat 6. Okay, so the drone in the air allows you to more readily hear and feel those relationships. And if you really want to drive home the feeling tone of that relationship, you got to sing it. As embarrassed or shy as you may be, like me, you got to sing it, right? Sharp 4, 3, flat 2, 1. Okay, so there's our drone in the air. I hope that gave you some ideas in terms of what to do. You could. This is how to get really familiar with any scale or mode, right? It's so important to be able to hear that scale and or mode in relation to the tonic. Okay, now there are some scales that this doesn't work for, like Locrian or super diminished magical altered, right? But generally, if the scale has a perfect fifth in it, this practice is going to help elucidate that scale. It's going to help you feel its pulls and pushes and rests and where it settles and where it causes drama, right? We've got our root and our fifth, and everything around that is fair game to alter, to double. Maybe you have both seconds in there, right? And getting a sense of what a chromatic pair is, D flat to D in the same tonal center, in this case C. So I hope this gives you some ideas in terms of exploration, and also it's also just it's a good practice. It calms you down, right? How often do we just get to hear for extended periods of time? It's good, right? So, well, should I leave it at that? I mean, what more? It's just fun to play. I mean, initially you can improvise. I'm doing 1 flat 2 3 4 5 flat 6 major 7. Right. Then another another great practice, right? We're in C, exploring every distance from and or to that C. So 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1 flat 6, 1, 7, 1, 1. And then doing that from every pitch. So there I did it from the tonic, which is almost the same thing as having the drone in there. But what if I did it from the D flat? So I've got a complicated relationship in the air, and then I'll go through, you know, D flat to E, D flat to F, D flat to G, D flat A flat, D flat B, D flat C. One more time. Resolve. Okay, how about from the E? From the F, from the G, from the A flat, etc. Right? We're getting used to what are all of the melodic distance relationships in this scale from every pitch, right? And of course we could do this without the drone, but once again, the point of the drone, the benefit of the drone is it's training us to hear relations to the center, which is essentially, you know, like kind of what tonal music is, right? There's how do we dance around the center? How do we return to it? How do we leave it? How do we change it, right? How do we obliterate it, right? How do we assure ourselves of it? The drone is here to help us with that, okay? And you know, how long has the drone practice been around? Long time. I'd say thousands of years. Thousands, okay? So just remember that when you're doing this, you can pretend that, you know, it's a long, long, long time ago. It sounds kind of ancient, especially if you do it on one string. Now, and notice so far we've only really been doing single note stuff, which is, you know, much in the dronal way. But then, of course, you can do this with chords, right? You can explore chords over the drone, and then we're really starting to stretch out, you know, what can we hear in relation to a tonic, right? So it's my 1 chord, my flat 2, to my 3 chord, 4. Let me do that again. There we go. We got E minor, F minor, to G. That's C, D flat, E minor, F minor, G, A flat. We'll go B diminished. Oopsie daisy. C. If I'm thinking in terms of scale degree, right? That's the 1 chord, flat 2 chord, 3 chord, it's minor 4, 5 major, flat 6 major, 7 diminished, right? Hearing that tension. Resolve. Okay, well, somehow it's already been 20 some minutes, so I encourage you to do this. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Please do share, like, subscribe. It helps me out. Click the bell. Say what's up. Comment below. Ask questions, really. If you all ask questions, I'm going to talk about it. All right, I'm going to go for now. Thanks for being here. Adios.